Can't
You
wait.
can take it away.
I am resident of Collinwood for YouTube, Joel Saints, joined by my buddy Gordon Dymowski, my buddy Patrick McCray. We're here to discuss episode
Screw this. I'm out of here.
270. Narrated by Alexander Moltke. Oh my God. Written by Malcolm Mormestein and directed by Leela Swift. So Patrick, you chose this episode. This is the wedding episode, or attempted wedding episode between Jason and Liz.
Episode. Yeah, this is the funny thing with Dark Shadows. You got to be careful because I just kind of offhandedly said the Liz Jason wedding episode, but it ends with like the big moment at the beginning of everything with the Liz Jason wedding. So it's a great episode. Don't get me wrong. I would have said 271 if I had been sober, if I had been thinking more clearly.
Yeah, so if you've been sober, basically.
Yeah.
This is a really good episode, though. I like it a lot because you get a lot of things happening before the ultimate tie-up. Carolyn is rooting through Jason's room, looking for what Jason might have on her mother. Remember, they did an episode where they looked in the basement. They looked in the basement, and there was nothing. Now they didn't dig beneath the floor. They're going to here, I believe, in the next episode, which is really another great episode too.
Let Anthony George earn his pay.
Yeah,
Tony, dig. Jeez Louise. That guy and Earl Holliman were married. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah. From Policewoman. Remember Policewoman?
Yes, I love Policewoman.
Yeah, well...
Who wouldn't love a policewoman?
Well, Earl Holliman wouldn't love a policewoman. He loved Anthony George, who plays Burke Devlin in this.
And he's probably the only person who does love Anthony George, who plays Burke Devlin.
Well, now, he was a stalwart lad. Is this his first episode?
No, this is not.
I'd say who would
No,
say
actually, I thought it was because they had the announcement that, Burke Devlin is now being played by Anthony George.
They did that for a while.
Yeah, they did that for a good bit. The first episode with Anthony George is the episode where they announce Maggie is dead. And then also coming back that when they find out about that's how Anthony George's Burke Devlin is introduced too. Like they're him and Victoria are sitting there together, and he's in shock that he can't believe Maggie's dead. So there is that aspect of it that was way back ago. We'll have to discuss that episode too because it is pretty good. But we're discussing here to discuss 270. Anthony George is here as Burke Devlin, no Mitchell Ryan, unfortunately. He has been invited by the group by Jason McGuire, by the husband to be, to this wedding because he is not for this wedding either, really.
No.
The only person for the wedding is Jason.
It's Jason, yeah. He thinks it's a great idea.
What did you guys think of Dennis Patrick's Jason McGuire?
I mean, it's the most charming performance on the series. All due respect to everyone, I think everyone would probably agree with me on that. He is a quintessential villain. But I mean, do you hate to love him or love to hate him? It's hard to tell. But whatever it is, he's magnificent. I remember when I first watched the show, thinking that I don't know why everybody's so down on Barnabas. You're talking about Barnabas is this great villain. Jason McGuire is where it's at. I mean, he's that's the cat in pajamas.
Yeah, especially when you consider that this is very early in the Barnabas storyline. So you really need someone who can lift the game because right now Barnabas is a new bad guy. So you need someone who really needs to push it to not be campy, but to be strong. And I think Dennis Patrick is a very strong villain in this arc.
Well, and here we say goodbye, really, to that early part of the show. We say goodbye to the Art Wallace era, because this was his last major storyline, and after that, it's funny that Barnabas should be the one who kills Jason McGuire, because he literally kills that section of the series. When you think about it, that's Barnabas's big function. Tuesdays at 8.
Can I give you a what if?
Yes, as long as some penicillin will clear it up.
Mm-hmm.
What if instead of feeding Jason to Barnabas, what if instead Jason does leave town to find Paul, and surprise, surprise, Carolyn follows him?
I don't think that would have happened. I think Jason is too much he'd be much more willing to go to another town, set up, and try to earn a living, con someone else in another city. I don't think he'd go after Paul Stoddard.
Man.
Yeah.
He's a working man. I can posit it. I'm sure, why not? But I on the spectrum of likelihood, it doesn't. It's not my first pick, but I think it's an interesting idea. I want Jason McGuire to live. He'll be alive as long as we remember him.
Mm-hmm. I like to think of Jason McGuire as going after his Lucky Charms because they're magically delicious.
Well, they are.
Mm-hmm.
The late Dennis Patrick, great actor.
Find Lucky Charms to be magically delicious.
I don't eat Lucky Charms.
You don't eat Lucky Charms?
So you hate the Irish? Is that what you're saying?
I just bought a box.
She just bought a box of Lucky Charms, Jewel. Now you've insulted my guest.
Now we're Halloween.
Yeah. Well, what's with the cereal hate, Joel? This is starting to concern me.
I'm a Frosted Flakes guy. That's just my preference.
That's a stance.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Tony the Tiger guy.
Okay. All right.
Why am I concerned right now that you're going to start praising Frosted Mini Wheats, Joel?
No, I don't like Frosted.
We're not going to go down that road again, are we?
I don't like.
Yeah, please don't. Please don't.
I don't like the shredded wheat stuff, but I'll tell you what. I'm a sucker for Cheerios. My kids eat the Lucky Charms. They love that stuff.
Podcast is going to turn into what your kids eat for breakfast.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
Okay, good. This as long as we're honest.
But back to Dark Shadows and not cereal. So they get.
What kind of cereal do you think Carolyn Stoddard likes?
Oh, geez, Carolyn, it's Weetabix. That's from Anglophile snob. Weetabix, I think, and a big bowl of clotted cream.
And Roger just has plain old dry oatmeal because he likes to be regular.
I would, does Roger have those concerns?
He's a man in his 40s. He's got to start thinking at some point.
I suppose you're right. 40 seems awfully young, though.
Willie's heading off to Dunkin' Donuts to get to the Collinsport Bakery because I don't think Dunkin' was around at that time to get like a dozen. Some Boston creams, some maple bars, some straightforward chocolate donuts.
What did you guys think of the attempted wedding here? It gets. By the way, Carolyn puts her Uncle Roger's revolver in her little mini purse, and she's gonna blow. She's thinking at least about blowing Jason away. What did you guys think about that?
I'm certainly grateful for how you ended that sentence. It's dramatic. It's dramatic as hell. We've been waiting for it.
And I liked it, and I wanted to take this opportunity to kind of, Joel, at our last episode, you mentioned that when Patrick brought up Vertigo you kind of said that Vertigo and Dark Shadows weren't alike because Vertigo is more of a crime noir.
And then you called me a big stupid head.
Well, I wasn't going to go there, Patrick, because I don't like to treat. But Jewel, I would argue that this episode, and there are several other episodes in this kind of first 300 some, before it goes into color, you could make the argument that Dark Shadows, had the supernatural stuff content not worked, they could have easily gone into kind of a noir crime field. And this episode really kind of, I think, proves it. It's a man blackmailing a woman to marry him. There's family secrets. There's crime. There's there's a scene at a dive. The blue whale. I'm sure some people think of it as a dive, but I think you could hypothetically, if say around the murder of Bill Malloy storyline, if the ghost stuff hadn't quite worked or they couldn't have quite figured it out, they could have said, "Oh, screw it, we'll just be a noir crime drama." Wouldn't have lasted as long, and I think Dan Curtis would have had a fit. But I think you could hypothetically move it in that direction. So Jewel, I would not be, you need to not be so dismissive of like when how is this thing like the other thing, no, you need to be open. And I'm also ashamed of you for the things you said about Patrick. I cannot even repeat them. We had to actually scrap a whole podcast because they're just vile and character assassination, and I can't even repeat them.
Gordon, in all fairness, they were accurate. That's
not the one about the schnauzers. Not the one about the schnauzers.
No, because it was a dachshund, and it was just one.
Oh my God! Oh Jesus Christ!
Don't take the Lord's name in vain, Jewel. That's one of the commandments.
We have, the hope of saving Jules' soul has, I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's
there's always Satan as an alternate, Jewel. Just remember that.
It's already being nailed to the devil. But for this episode, first of all, for the whole crime aspect of Dark Shadows, Dark Shadows has always had crime elements. Look at the bleeder valve case. But when you get into the specific, and this is something I'm going to talk about Saturday when we actually do Vertigo. When you get into the specifics of Josette and Barnabas themselves, and you're getting into the film Vertigo itself, the question of Vertigo itself is because James Stewart has played characters that thrive on vengeance before. This detective is not the first.
Harvey is the one that comes to mind.
Yeah, because he's a total bastard in It's a Wonderful Life.
Have you ever seen Bend of the River? A Western, or have you ever seen The Man from Laramie or The Far Country? James Stewart.
Have you ever seen Harvey?
Yes.
That's
movie.
The most chilling performance he ever did.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, his friend is an imaginary 7-foot rabbit.
Who goes on a killing spree.
Now, with James Stewart in the sense of Vertigo, when he after the girl gets thrown, but he thinks that the girl jumped when the girl is thrown, because the husband has already murdered his wife.
Yes.
The Vertigo sets in obviously for the detective and stuff, and later when he sees Kim Novak as this woman, to me, in my opinion, James Stewart knows, okay, it was you the whole time. And if you go watch movies like Bend of the River, The Far Country, or The Man from Laramie, James Stewart is like a mini Shadow. He is all about vengeance. And in the movie Vertigo, when you're watching it, he may not get exact revenge because he doesn't necessarily get the husband that we see in the movie, but he is going to get vengeance for that girl, for what they did to her and what they did to him ultimately. and it ain't gonna be pretty. What happens, and it's not pretty. What happens at all?
No, it's not. Now, Jewel, have you ever pretended to be Jimmy Stewart, done a Jimmy Stewart impression, and then told a dirty joke?
I've done a Jimmy Stewart impression.
It's funny if you tell a dirty joke as it, and you put your glasses on and you say, "Well, now, Johnny, here's a poem I wrote for my granddaughter," and because it's on.
It also helps if you tell the aristocrats joke.
Jewel, you know that joke?
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
on Tubi, there's a documentary called The Aristocrats. Go watch it.
you'll like it.
What? I'll check it out. What did you guys think of the attempted wedding here that completely backfires? Liz tells the truth. She's like, I murdered Paul Stoddard, and that man, she points right at Jason, was my accomplice. The confession.
It was marvelous.
Yeah. And it's something you wouldn't necessarily expect in a soap opera of that time. You'd expect somebody else to burst in with an interruption, and then the reveal of Paul Stoddard's death gets moved on. But nope, Elizabeth Stoddard moves and says, "Yeah, I killed him. Yeah, he had nothing to do with that guy at the Blue Whale, and he's not going to come back in a couple of years, and there's not going to be these weird snake people cult because they didn't know that back then."
Oh my gosh. What's you guys' favorite scene in this episode?
I think any of the Carolyn drunk stuff really worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. It's because it reads as very real. So yeah.
And I think Joe is just kind of like, I want to help her, but she's not letting me. So yeah, she wants to be drunk and miserable. That's fine. She can be just like her Uncle Roger.
I think had Liz not confessed, I think we're getting one very dead Jason McGuire. I think Carolyn would have pulled that trigger.
Oh yeah, certainly.
Well, I think there have been more than one people fighting her for the gun, for the chance to shoot Jason McGuire.
Yeah, that's true. This would have been murder on the Orient Express, but murder at Collinwood. Yeah, we all wanted to kill
him. You're right.
A lot of fun. I really, really did enjoy the chemistry between Dennis Patrick and Nancy Barrett. I'm with you guys on it. I love the chemistry in the room. Dennis Patrick.
That has been a thing that has really worked on this show since that wonderful monologue that he gives early on about what Paul Stoddard was like as a father.
Yeah.
Remember that monologue? I love that monologue.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He also says about how, in the next episode, he says about how greedy Paul was wanting to be, which is really interesting. The flashback scene in the next episode is really good. By the way, that's going to be my pick for tomorrow night. You guys game
or 271?
Yeah.
I would like to do that. Because I think that's actually the episode I intended for us to talk about. So I would be more than happy, but I don't want to voluntold Gordon into something.
I don't mind watching 271. I'm curious myself. Mm-hmm. And that way I can find things to nitpick and kind of, make little jokey jokes about and make obscure references to serials. Like, I'm sure that Jewel, he's got a couple of boxes of Count Chocula hidden under, where he's got his computer, so that when his camera goes off, he just starts scarfing them down.
Well, that's just sensible. He's an American.
Oh, yeah.
My daughter made this at school.
Ooh, cool.
Oh, school. What was it, Joel? What? I didn't see it. Oh. I was mixing a drink. That's an object. What is it? It's
a mouse made of a pine cone.
Yeah.
Cool. Good for her.
Yeah, and of course, Jewel has the 3 seashells, as in the Demolition Man movie.
Jewel's man and thorough.
I've seen the Demolition Man. Good. Taco Bell wins the restaurant wars, and God damn it, they're gonna win it in real life too. I probably.
Taco Bell. It's just the same 3 or 4 ingredients. You know.
That is true. What did you guys think of the writer for this episode?
He's one of the best writers they had on the show. I mean, he's one of the only writers they had on the show.
I mean, he later wrote for Night Gallery, another series. So, you know, Malcolm Marmorstein he's probably one of the few who, I don't know if you'd say graduated, but you could see where this was like a training ground for him to write other stuff. Just as with Sam Hall and Gordon Russell, they went from here straight to One Life to Live, which was a soap opera, but it was dealing with social issues. So that would have been kind of like an interesting little evolution for them to go from like this very kind of fantastic, romantic, kind of high-end gothic drama to something a little bit more grounded.
Yeah. Is there anything you guys want to add about this episode before we go?
It's very solid. You got Nancy Barrett. It's her episode.
Yeah.
I think, and I think she does a great job.
Is 9:45 good tomorrow, guys?
9:45.
Yes.
Okay. So episode, 271 tomorrow night, which is the episode after this one. And by the way, the reason there's a perfectly great reason I don't trust the Irish.
Oh God!
Keep your bias off this podcast.
I've seen Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. I know what Connell Cochran did. Okay.
I would not put the acts of Connell Cochran on the entire nation of Ireland, Joel.
Joel.
This is making me very. My name is Patrick McCray. Please.
Yeah, and Joel, let me point out, I'm actually a quarter Irish.
Oh my God!
On my mom's side, her grandmother's maiden name was Rachel, so we're gonna have words, bro.
You don't want to antagonize the Irish, Joel. I'm just going to tell you that right now.
Yeah, and Joel, to paraphrase a quote that you once said to Patrick, I'm 3 states away, and I have people who owe me favors.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that.
I remember
that. Dan O'Healy, who plays the character Connell Cochran, he's the only actor in the Halloween franchise who pronounces something right. San Juan, sorry. So he pronounces it right.
That's not how it's pronounced.
Oh, well, hey, according to him, it is.
Okay. It's pronounced Samhain.
Or Samhain, sorry. Yeah, Samhain.
Yeah, get your Dark Lord right, Joel.
Yeah, Samhain, sorry.
The Dark Lord will not be pleased.
Yeah, he never is, I don't think.
No, he likes a good pair of gold toe socks. A
nice, good, warm mug of cocoa.
The Dark Lord is reasonable in some ways.
Mm-hmm. He prefers boxers over briefs.
He does, but he likes those Calvin Klein boxer briefs. That's been his thing lately. At the club, when he's changing, we spotted it, and we said, "What is up with you?" And he says, "They're comfortable. You just don't knock them till you try them."
I have a great cereal recommendation for you guys. You
okay.
Corn Pops.
Corn Pops are good.
Mm-hmm.
They're good. Links to Dark Shadows Day Book Unbound is going to be in the description box. Links to Gordon Dymowski's Amazon page is going to be in the description box. And gentlemen, I will see you both tomorrow night.
Joel, thank you.
See you.
Thank you guys both.
Good night.
Good night.